Hello and welcome to Rhinos Ravens Review. Be sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, see, I'm getting good at this in the beginning. And why like and subscribe? Well, I'm trying to do 2 shows every week. And see right here, courtesy of BaltimoreRavens.com, already talking about next week against the Steelers. And as of right now, Kenny Pickett is expected to miss that game. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I only mentioned it because right here on the page. But the big news, Baltimore Ravens 28, Cleveland Browns 3. Not too much news I want to cover as of right now. Again, we'll get to that later in the week when I go for the preview show against the Steelers. Again, yes, I was on Ravens.com, but I do like the NFL.com and their stat page for the game. So let's go with that. And some of the notes. Oh, I know what I wanted to start with. Duh, that's why I have my notepad. Forgot about it already. Got distracted by other articles. Injury report that I usually do on the preview show. I try my best to articulate that it's not for certain. And you may have noticed that with Marcus Williams not playing, even though it looked like it might be possible he would play. Ronnie Stanley, same thing. Stanley and Williams did not play. And also, Deshaun Watson for the Cleveland Browns did not play. And that is largely why the Cleveland Browns were only able to score 1 field goal. Now, the defense did a very good job, but facing a backup quarterback and a rookie at that, too, touching me down, they really had an easy job. And as you can see here, talking about pass defense, 3 interceptions. Brandon Stephens and Geno Stone had the big ones where they were able to catch the ball, prevent Cleveland from moving down the field, which they were driving a little bit, and actually get some run back on it. What is that? I mean, that's almost 90 yards of interception return. That's pretty good. Hamilton's pick was in the end zone in garbage time at the end of the game, but it does still count. And many passes defensed. A lot of pass breakups. Now this Demarion, what is his name? Demarion Thompson-Robinson was the rookie backup quarterback that went into the game. Now, he is not a statue by any sense of the meaning. He's a very mobile quarterback, an improviser, if you will. So, not a whole lot of sacks to speak of, only 3 listed from Madubuike, Broderick Washington, and Patrick Queen. Several tackles for loss, though, which really are about the same thing. Didn't get a lot of help. Who was that on the Cleveland Browns? As I'm saying, Demarion Robinson didn't get a lot of help. And when was that? Elijah Moore on a kind of outside run ended up losing 20 yards. That was... Nope, didn't write it down when that play was. But that was huge. Cleveland is, driving, and they're on the Ravens side of the field. And to be taken back 20 yards is huge. But, he did kind of run around a lot more than he maybe should have. What else do I got over here? Yes, the Ravens did have an easy time of it, but again, even though the guy's a rookie, you still have to take care of business. Yes, he's an improviser, and he can run around a little bit, and you are down people on defense. You don't have Owe, you don't have Jabo. Jabo was placed on IR. You don't have Marcus Williams. You're down a few pieces. They were able to pick up Kyle Van Noy. Yes, I did kind of make a little blunder there. Kyle Van Noy signed by the Ravens. Did help a little bit, but it's not too far up to speed, even though he did play a lot. Can't let a guy like that beat you. Demarion Thompson-Robinson. He's got the ability, like Lamar Jackson, to extend plays and run around a bit and get positive yardage on plays where you may have dropped another quarterback for a loss. So while it was somewhat easy because he was a rookie, you still got to do it. You still got to break up the passes when you can. Get those tackles for a loss when you can. And for the most part, the defense really did it. Browns did kind of hurt themselves a little bit on offense. But that's just the way it goes. Not like the Ravens haven't had the same issues. And let's talk about them. Talking about the Ravens offense. Yes, Lamar Jackson, 15 for 19, 186 yards. Not too many passing yards, but 15 for 19 is very good completion percentage. 2 touchdowns to Mark Andrews. Oh, where do I have it? Trying to give offense compliments instead of, ragging on them so much. And especially Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson's throwing ability. When did I say that? Okay, it was the touchdown right before the half ended for the Ravens. And Lamar rolling out to the right puts this ball really only so Mark Andrews could catch it. Mark Andrews jumped, and at about the highest point of his jump, he extended his arms all the way up to catch the ball. No defender was catching that ball. Only Mark Andrews was going to catch that. And Lamar Jackson put it exactly the right spot for that. So that is absolutely a step forward for Lamar Jackson. One, in actually proving to himself that he can pass the ball very well, and proving to all the haters out there, maybe myself included, that he absolutely possesses the ability to be a very good passer in this league. Does he do it all the time? No. Can he do it? Absolutely. And we saw it with that play. Andrews did have another catch, and no, I did not write down when that was. It was later in the game. One thing led to the good offensive outburst by the Ravens was the Browns' inability to hold on to the ball. Yes, 1 garbage time interception, but 2 other interceptions by the Browns. Several other plays with tackles for losses, and the Ravens' defense getting the Ravens' offense back on the field. And for the most part, the Ravens' offense took full advantage of that. But you see the scoring by quarters here. 7 in the first, 14 in the second, none in the third, and only 7 in the fourth. While the Ravens played very well. I'm not really... I guess it is a little concerning that still the Ravens are able to score a bunch of points in the first half, but not as much in the second half. It's almost like still, to this point, no matter who the offensive coordinator is, who your running back is, who your quarterback is, the opposing defense makes an adjustment at halftime, and the Ravens offense can't do anything about it. Let's come down here to the drive summary. 2 possessions for the Ravens in the third quarter, punted on both of them. Now, only 2 possessions per quarter, so a lot of time ran off the clock, but punt, and then in the fourth quarter, punt. They did get a touchdown, but that was off of a turnover. That was the second turnover. and then punt again. At least one of those punts has to turn into something that didn't look. I mean, this last one, 4 plays. 4 plays, punt, 4 plays. Punt, 4 plays. You had one here, punt, 8 plays, but minus 2 yards. There was a penalty there. There were several incompletions, so on and so forth. Did, however, run 4 minutes off the clock, which is good, but you gotta have some first downs in there. You've got to have some first downs in there. Yes, there is a rookie quarterback on the other side, and he's the backup, and your defense is doing good, but it goes to what I'm saying, and the inability of the Ravens offense to close out games. The Ravens offense has to be the closer. Honestly, everywhere in the NFL, any team, your offense really needs to be the closer. Your offense needs to run the clock down at the end of a game. They need to get first downs. You can't keep putting the defense out there and be like, oh, the defense played so bad, they couldn't get off the field. Well, maybe if the offense wasn't putting them back on the field so often. This is a whole team here. The offense needs to help the defense, and the defense needs to help the offense. That is how it goes. That is how teams win Super Bowls. You can't just have an offense that does all the work. You can't just have a defense that does all the work. Now, the Ravens did do that 23 years ago. Different league now. And at the same time, they did have Jamal Lewis, who was a really good running back. Trent Dilfer was a very good game manager who had Shannon Sharpe over the middle. So that helped a lot at points, getting the defense some time off the field. But again, the defense was allowed to absolutely mug the offense compared to nowadays. And what am I talking about? Let's go to team stats. Come all the way down here to the bottom. Almost. Time of possession. Ravens just under 30 minutes. The Browns just over 30 minutes. But yet it was 28-3. Virtually split the time of possession. How? That logic doesn't track there. You absolutely, by the score, you absolutely dominated this game. But by time of possession, it doesn't look like you did. And penalties. 8 penalties by the Ravens, only 7 by Cleveland. Oh, and this big number right here, which isn't big in, let's say, the size of the number, but fumbles lost. That's a huge statistic. Browns none, Ravens 1. It was on a handoff to Justice Hill. It's tough to say whose fault it really was. Not 100% sure it was really anybody's fault. Because it did look like Lamar was trying to hand off. And he had his arm stretched out as far as he could be. But he still wasn't even at Justice Hill's pocket. Little pocket he would carry the ball in. So what was that? Did Lamar not move over towards his running back far enough? Did his running back not move far enough over towards Lamar to accept the handoff? But it's still a problem. You have to take care of the football, and part of that is a good exchange between quarterback and running back. Especially if you are dominating the game and you want to run the ball more to run the clock out. But at the same time, if Lamar is completing passes at a high percentage that he is, couldn't you try shorter, quicker passing routes? You could try that. You could absolutely try that. It doesn't seem like this team wants to do that. which is odd. I mean, this is more of a run-oriented team, but at the same time, come and look at the carries. Gus Edwards, 15. Justice Hill, 3. It's kind of low. Lamar Jackson, 9. Melvin Gordon, 3. Tyler Huntley, 2. 1 for him. Justice Hill, if I remember correctly, did not finish the game. So we'll have to see that later. What, and what that is. But I was fairly surprised with Melvin Gordon's ability to run the ball. He only had a few carries, but he looked to be fairly good. I mean, part of it is no Beckham Jr., no... Hell is the other wide receiver, Bateman. Got too many wide receivers on his team. And not really using them too much. 19 pass attempts is relatively low, I think. Especially in this day of the NFL. And especially when you can't close games out and get first downs when you need to run even more clock off. You should throw the ball a little bit more, especially if you're going to go out and you're going to get Beckham. You're going to draft Bateman and you're going to draft Flowers. And then you're going to go out and get Aguilar, or maybe not necessarily in that order. Because you're losing running backs. I mean, you already lost your best one. And Justice Hill is not 100% healthy. Turf toe it was that he got in whatever game it was that he left. Some kind of turf toe injury. So we'll see where that goes. I already talked about that. All right, let me check the notes. Just make sure I got to everything. Oh, Ravens O-line. That's something I want to talk about. Yes, now I did say that the Ravens offense, and I do need to start thinking about wrapping this up. I don't need to harp on this too much more. Browns actually do have a pretty good defense. Darius Smith, he was on the other side of the field. He didn't make too much of an impact. The more impact is Myles Garrett. And Myles Garrett is one of the premier defensive end, if not the premier defensive end in the NFL. And he has the ability to wreak havoc on any offense. For the most part, the offensive line did an okay job containing him. He did get 1 sack. He did disrupt at least 2 or 3 other plays, if not more. So that doesn't help. I understand that. And it is not like these are the old Cleveland Browns where they are just terrible. They've been slowly building up that defense, especially with Garrett. Very good anchor for them. Also, I can't remember his first name. I want to Ward, a Mr. Ward, we'll call him. Very good in the back end too. So, while I can criticize the Ravens offense for not closing out the game, it wasn't exactly easy for them. But if you want to win the AFC North, you're going to have to figure out a way to do it. You're going to have to figure out a way to close games. And you would really like that the offense could do some of the work, because at least in Cleveland, it really looked like the defense was doing all the work closing out the game. But that is going to do it. Or let me summarize this up and I'll check out the schedule here. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Pittsburgh Steelers next at Pittsburgh. 3-game road stretch here for the Ravens. Though it isn't the same as baseball. But away game, Steelers next Sunday, 1 o'clock. So to summarize, even despite all the injuries, Ravens played very well this weekend. Now, the Cleveland Browns were dealing with some injuries themselves, but you can almost say they cancel each other out there. Defense played very well. The offense did play well. I'm not going to say that they didn't play well, but really got to harp on that the Ravens need to figure out how to close out ball games. Because they didn't close out the one against Indianapolis, and in my opinion, they didn't close out this game against the Cleveland Browns well enough. But they did well enough to win the game. That's going to do it for this edition of Rhinos Ravens Review. Be sure to like and subscribe. Preview show for the Steelers game later on in the week. I am the Angry Rhino. Fly, Ravens, fly.